Hi, Sarah, Staar speaking here. Okay, in the previous video, we went through why you might need to use a proxy server and why you might need to use a VPN as well, and the main differences. So in this video, what I want to show you is kind of like how to set it all up. There are lots, like with most things to do with the internet and computers, there are lots of different ways of doing things. The way I'm showing you isn't necessarily I don't know, the kind of technically the sort of the best way of doing it or whatever. It's just the way I do it. I like to do things easy, simple. So we're going to do it the simple and easy way today. I'm sure there are lots of you know technical people who think there are better ways of doing things. I like this way just simply because it's easy. So with VPNs and proxies, you can kind of go right into the kind of code of your computer, if you like, or right into the kind of master settings and kind of install it all manually. And probably that's kind of like technically the best way of doing it. However, life's too short for that. I just like to use simple applications, simple software tools where we can get things done easily. So that's what we're going to be covering in this video. Okay, so let's start with VPNs. So remember in the last video we were talking about VPNs. VPNs I don't think really are the best kind of solution if you're an internet marketer. A VPN is really, I think is best use is for if you just want to watch Netflix or the BBC iPlayer or something like that, or HBO or whatever when you're abroad. Unlike a proxy server, a VPN will make your entire computer seem as if it's in a different country, whereas a proxy server will only affect your web browser. Now, as we can see here, so this is just a control panel for a service which I use for VPNs. The great thing about a VPN is you can make it work on an iPhone or an iPad, an Apple TV, a Chromecast, a Chromebook, a smart TV, Linux, an Xbox, Android, etc. So if you've got like an Android device, you can make the whole device seem as if it's based in a different country. So that would be really useful if you had like a tablet computer, or look, or even an Apple TV. Or a Roku box, like one of those set-top boxes, because they quite often will have like a Netflix app or whatever. So these are really good. VPNs are really good to use if you've got a set-top box or a smart TV or an iPad or a device in a different country and you want to be able to watch content from the other country. So that's why kind of VPNs are really good. Now I have to apologize if you can hear a load of racket in the background. That's just my kitten Miriam, who's chasing a ball with a bell inside it around my kitchen. So I have to apologize for that. Okay, so let's get on with VPN. So VPN, the service I like to use, and like I said, there are loads of different services out there for VPNs. You can pick your own one. Just the one I've always used right from the beginning is one called Foxy Proxy. You may have heard of them before. So Foxy Proxy was the original kind of service for proxy servers. I used to use them back in the day, back in 2009, 2010, quite a lot. Back then, they just did proxy servers and they only used to work with Firefox. That's why it was called Foxy Proxy. But they've kind of expanded now. I guess less people are using Firefox these days, and now they also do VPNs. And you can also use their service on all of these devices, which is pretty cool. So when we use a VPN, we have to download a piece of software to our computer, and then we put like a username and password into that piece of software, and then our whole device then is browsing the internet from a different country. So the thing about VPNs and proxies is you do have to purchase them. Now there are free proxy servers, and I think there might even be free VPNs. I've never really looked into it to be honest with VPNs, but the thing about free proxies and free VPNs is you can imagine, a lot of spammers use them. A lot of people doing dodgy things on the internet might use them. So I wouldn't really necessarily recommend ever using a free proxy server or a free VPN. I personally have always used services which I pay for. So they don't cost that much. So this is Foxy Proxy, and we can see here, from $8.33 a month if you buy 12 months worth, or sorry, $7.49 if you buy a 12-month contract. If you buy it month by month, it's $9.99. So if you're on holiday, you could just buy like 1 month's worth, and then that would just sort of, enable you to watch TV from a different country. So Foxy Proxy, 1 month, you actually get the VPN and you also get a proxy server as well. So they give you both. The one thing I have found about, with Foxy Proxy, it can be a little bit slow in the evening. So when you're streaming TV, the picture quality can drop down a little bit because lots of other people are using it. They do say unlimited bandwidth. I was just using it last night, and it did actually work on the second attempt, for watching a program on the BBC. But it was a little bit slower than other proxy servers I've used, but it is very, very easy to use. So do give it a go. If you have any issues, just contact their support. But like I said, there are loads of other VPNs out there. But this is, I mean, the thing about Foxy Proxy is they're the kind of best known company. You're not going to get ripped off with them. They're very kind of like well known. So once you've signed up for it, you get a login, username and password for your control panel. Now, as soon as you've logged into your control panel, this is where you'll have access to. Now, I've blurred out some of the information because I don't want someone else using my proxy server. And it all looks very complicated. So I just want to kind of go through what all of this is. So we've just got my payment information here at the bottom. Don't ignore that. And then we've got here, we've got where it says server host. So that's a bit of information you'll need. So that's just like a bit like the domain name of the computer you're going to be browsing the internet from. And then we've got the IP address. Remember in the last video I was talking about IP addresses? So an IP address, the easy way to think about that is it's a bit like the telephone number of your computer. So that's going to be if you like, the telephone number of the computer you're going to be browsing the internet from. And we can see here, look, there's a little Union flag there saying that's from the United Kingdom. So that's a computer based in the United Kingdom. So those are the only bits of information we actually need to make this work. So they have instructions on how to make this work with all the different web browsers, etc. Now this is actually a VPN. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to download. Here we go. So this is a Windows computer I'm using this on now. So we just download a software program to our computer and install it the normal way you would install a software program. If you have an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device, you just do the same things. You download it. It's probably an app. I've never actually done it on an Android device, but I would assume it's an app you download, and then you're kind of all set. Now, once you've got your piece of software installed, we come over here to, let me just find it. Here we go. So I've installed it here, and this is software. So it's just asking for the host information. Remember, that's like the web address, a username, and a password. So we've got actually 3 bits of information here for a VPN. So let's just go back. Here we go. So we've got our username here, our password, and we've got the IP address, and we've also got the server host, which is like the domain name. And then it's just a simple matter of just entering it in to the details here, the username, your password, you need to put it in twice, and then you're all set. You can just click connect, and then you will be connected. So a simple way to check this out to make sure that you are browsing the internet from the correct country is they have a way to actually test that you're browsing from the correct country. So let's go and have a look at this here. It says, what's my IPN location? I haven't got the VPN enabled at the moment. And we can see here your IP address and location. It says France. It actually says Paris. I'm not actually in Paris. I guess that's just where the ISP is. My internet service provider is based in Paris. I'm actually using satellite broadband, but my ISP, so I could be based anywhere, but the ISP is actually based in Paris. And then that's my local IP address. So let's go and now enable the VPN. So it's going to click on connect. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds to connect to the remote server in the United Kingdom. And then once that's connected, then you don't need to do anything else until you reboot your computer. So let me just grab a cup of coffee whilst I do that. Let's just connect. Here we go. So we've got this. You are now connected. Excellent. And let's go back to this web page now and refresh the page and see where we're browsing the internet from. So where's my location? And there we go. So it says United Kingdom, London. So now, as far as the internet's concerned, we're based in London in the UK. So now we could browse any websites like the BBC.com, Channel4.com, ITV, anything like that, or any kind of other websites that are restricted for use in the UK. We can now browse that from any country in the world, actually. And it would think that we're based in London. So that's how we use a VPN. A great way just to make your whole computer seem as if it's in another country. So the next thing we're going to look at is a proxy server. So a proxy server, like I said in the last video, really mainly used for internet marketing. If you want to set up multiple, let's say, Google accounts, multiple YouTube accounts, or maybe you want to have like 10 Facebook accounts, so that you could leave, get lots of likes on your Facebook page, or maybe comments or something like that. There are a number of different reasons why you might want to do that. Or maybe you want to do some article marketing or backlinking or search engine optimization. And I mean, for instance, I actually use proxy servers when I'm testing my affiliate links. So quite often, for instance, my affiliate program, we track affiliate links not only with cookies, but we also track them with IP addresses. So it can be like really tricky to test it. So you're testing it, and you can't understand why you're trying to test like a client's affiliate link, and it can be really confusing because it doesn't seem it seems to um, be giving the wrong affiliate a commission, and then you check it with a proxy server with a fresh IP address, and then you can see it's actually working. So we use them here at Staar Business School for like checking affiliate links, things like that. So we look like we're a brand new person who's never clicked on the affiliate link before. We use them for things like that, and also setting up accounts on other social networks and things like that. So let's have a look at proxy servers. Now, Proxy Foxy, when you purchase a VPN, it does actually come with a single proxy server. However, I think really if you're going to be using proxy servers, you're going to need more than one. And like I said, there are loads of places on the internet where you can buy proxy servers. There's no kind of, to be honest, I haven't actually bought lots of proxy servers in bulk for a long time. I just have one place which I have used recently. Here we go. So instant proxies. I'm not necessarily recommending these guys. I actually just bought 10 proxies from them a couple of weeks back for a project I was doing, but that was the first time I purchased proxy servers for a long time. But like I said, so you probably want to do a little bit of research. Go and have a look on the Warrior Forum. Or one of these types of websites to get a kind of like a recommendation. But when you're buying proxy servers, you want to buy them in bulk. So you can see here we can buy 10 proxy servers. And then we can, so let's say we wanted to have 10 accounts or 20 accounts, something like that. We could do that with 10 different IP addresses. Now with proxy servers, there's kind of three different flavors. We have free proxy servers like we talked about earlier, and I wouldn't really recommend using that. Paid ones, which is what we're using here. Now these paid proxy servers will be shared with other people, so other people will be using them. And the other thing which we can do is we can buy here we go. So I was just looking for it here. We can buy what's called a private proxy server. So a private proxy server is kind of like what it sounds like. It's private, no one else uses it. It's a brand new IP address. No one's ever used it to set any other accounts up. So if you're doing particularly kind of detailed work, something where you need to guarantee it's a clean account, I have used these in the past, back when I used to do a lot of YouTube search engine optimization, a lot of YouTube SEO. I used to use private proxies for that. I had 10, or I think I might have even at one point had 20 private proxies, and they do cost a little bit more. So and they have a username and password associated with them. So you have that IP address, which we talked about earlier, but you also have a username and password. So those are the three different versions. But if you're just doing kind of general stuff, a regular proxy server would be absolutely fine. So when you purchase proxy servers, you just get a list of just looks like numbers here. So we've got a list of them here, and they look like telephone numbers. So they're just like lots of small numbers grouped together with a dot. Um, and then you can see here we've got a colon there. So that's where it ends. So we've got this first one, 9446. I won't say the whole thing out loud because I don't want other people to use it. But and then it says colon, and then we've got four numbers at the end. What we actually want are just those, was it one, two, three, there's four numbers at the beginning. It's very confusing. So we just want that first section here, which I'm highlighting. Can you see that? There we go. Anything after the colon we don't want. I don't know why they display it like that. Very confusing. Now to use this, like I said, there are lots of different ways which we can do it. We can install it manually into our browser. However, I find that too complicated. So I like to use a tool I found in the Chrome web store called Proxy Switch Omega. I'll put a link to it below the video. Proxy Switch Omega, or you could just search in the App Store if you're using an Apple Mac, just for Proxy Server Chrome add-on or Proxy Server Safari add-on, and there's like loads of them out there. This is just the one I found. It's no particular. I haven't been using it that long to be honest, but it seems to work. Here we go. So I've just installed it. It appears here in my browser, this little circle, and I've just gone here to options. So all we do here is we enter in the IP address. Remember, that's like the telephone number. So you can see here I've entered in the IP address. If we just go back here to, let me just close that down. Here we go. So that's the IP address there. So I've just entered that into where it says server, and then port, I put number 80. That was the one they recommended on the website. Port 80 normally works. I have no idea what a port is. I'm not really that technical. I think it's something to do with how your computer connects to the internet. I'm sure now there's lots of tech heads who are laughing at me because I don't know what a port is. Point is, you don't need to know what it does as long as you just put number 80 in there. If that doesn't work, come to whoever you've purchased the proxy servers from, and in the instructions here they'll tell you which other ports you can test. So sometimes there are 3 or 4 different ports which they recommend. So I've just put port 80 in there and then clicked on apply changes. If you're using a private proxy, you can click on this little padlock here, and then it will enable you to put in a username and password if you've purchased one which is just for you. But this is a shared proxy. So what I'm going to do is we're still actually using that VPN, so I'm just going to disconnect from the VPN. Here we go. And I'm just going to go back to that website which showed us where we were browsing the internet from. So I'm just going to refresh my browser now. So we should be back in Paris. Here we go. So we're back in Paris now. That's where my ISP is based. And I'm going to enable that proxy server which we just installed. Let me switch it to a different one because I think that's in the same country, that proxy server. So let me I think I've got a Portuguese one. So let's switch to Portugal. So I'm going to click apply changes. Here we go. Right. So I'm going to enable that proxy server. We just click on here and click proxy. So now that's blue. That means we're surfing through the internet through the proxy server. So let's just refresh the page, and here we go. Now we're in Portugal, as far as the computer is concerned. So you can get proxy servers in as many different countries as you want. I have no idea why this one is Portugal. It's actually meant to be the UK. So that's something you might need to. So for instance, when I purchased these proxy servers, originally none of them were based in the UK. I just sent them an email and then they switched them to the UK. And for some reason this week, half of them are switched to Portugal and the other half are actually now based in the UK. So not quite sure what's going on there. These things can happen though with proxies. So there we go. There's a proxy server. Proxy servers are great if you just want to quickly, set up multiple accounts. VPNs are better if you're more worried about security because it encrypts all your data. And again, proxy servers and VPNs can be a great way of browsing websites which you're not allowed to look at if you're in a work location or in a country like China or something like that as well. So hope you found this video useful. If you have any comments, please do comment below the video.